What? 30 seconds.
You could probably log into yours no matter. You could go into a different user.
Oh, I don't need, no, I don't keep it that one.
Oh,
It's 6 o'clock anyway. So, because it is 6 o'clock, I will call the February 25th, 2025 regular council meeting to order. And thanks for everyone for being here. We have adoption of the agenda, and there's 3 additions that I know of, and that's item 8.8, the update on the authorized signatories. Now, do we have any besides the closed ones?
No.
And we have we're going to delete item 12.1 and 12.2 and 12.3. But
1, 2, and 3.
yeah, we're just going to rename. We're going to add a personnel as 12.1. And I believe, I should say that, is that section 17 of FOIP? And 12.2 will be an organizational update. And same FOIP. 24, FOIP section 24. And so the 3 code of conduct will move up to 3, 4, and 5. So we've added an 8.8, and we've added a 12.1 and 12.2, and deleted the original 12.1, 12.2, and 12.3. Yes.
And could we add another one as well in the closed meeting part, request to the Minister of Municipal Affairs?
A what?
Request to the Minister of Municipal Affairs.
The number's not.
I wasn't aware they were going to be additions. So I'm just going to pause and do this right. So I'm just going to read our notice of motion. Council members wishing to add items will provide context to the matter being presented. These proposed additions to the agenda will be voted on separately. Because the mayor and CEO set the agenda. And the other part of that is 4.1, a member must give sufficient detail so that the subject of the motion and any proposed action can be determined.
Okay.
And council members may provide advance notice to the council of their intent to request to add an item by providing a notice of motion to the mayor and CEO prior to the meeting. The notice will contain background and contextual information to the matter that the member would like the rest of council to consider. So the mayor and CEO will distribute the notice to the other members of council prior to the meeting. The item will then be considered in accordance with the above process. So there was no notice prior to the agenda and prior to our meeting. So by all means, you can do that next meeting.
No, I'm doing it this meeting, and there have been previous examples where Councillor Windsor added the one that we're going to have all motions recorded. It was not provided ahead of time. I'm very willing to have council consider this. And I don't know how much background you want, but if council decides to put it in, then we'll discuss it in the closed meeting.
Well, Councillor Windsor didn't add an item, he made a motion on that.
Okay, I can
So-
make the motion in the open meeting if you like, I don't mind. I think you might want to have it in closed session.
Well, I would like to go to closed session right now then.
All right?
Make a motion to go closed and discuss this matter.
Okay, I'll move that we go to closed session.
All right, to consider Councillor Moore's addition to the agenda. So I apologize to everyone, we'll have to, yeah, we're going to vote. All in favor on that to go closed? That's carried. Is it on? Okay. So it does say that we have to vote on this separately. So we'll vote on, after we vote on Councillor Moore's motion separately, then we'll vote on the agenda if it's added or not, because we've already added those other 3 items for administration of the mayor. Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor. I have one other change to the agenda that I'd like to council to consider. Do you want to have that now, or do you want to have it after? In item 3.2, we have a business item, which shouldn't, in my opinion, shouldn't be in 3.2. It should be in the business section of the agenda. And that is the business arising from delegation. In December 10th of 2024, there was an item, a business item from delegation that was at item 9, not in item 3. On February 28th, there was an item from a business from delegation that again was in item 9.
What was item 9 though? Business?
Pardon me?
What was item 9? Business?
It's just, it was an item in between.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was an item all to its own.
Mhm.
And like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that there's inconsistency. February 11th, it was item 5, and tonight it's item 2, 3.2. And it should all, because it's business, it should be in the business section of the agenda. And I think that it would be prudent for us to decide where we're going to put these things so that it's consistent as we go forward. And so whether it falls just as a point under business or whether it has its own line in the business section, I just think it should be moved from 3.2 to somewhere. And I would suggest putting it in under the business, just a footnote under business, and that's where we put business from delegation moving forwards. So it would just fall as I think it's 8.9 in the business section. It'd be my suggestion, but that's up to
Well, maybe we can have administration speak to why it's at 3.2. Is that, go ahead, Amanda.
That was just simply to put the item with the delegation in case the delegation members wanted to stay to see the outcome of that. But that was just kind of the thought process there.
Okay, I know that when the presentation on the high school land was here for the park, we moved it to like item 5, I believe it went first. And I don't know, I think maybe that's a discussion for the agenda meeting that we have next, and we'll try to identify a place where it fits all the time. Council, if that's okay with council, to Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. The reason it needs to, I believe it needs to be in the business section is because the business section is where recorded votes are where votes are recorded. And if it's not in the business section, is the votes going to be recorded at that level because it's a business item?
We can call for a recorded vote.
Right. Well, that's a good observation. So if we put it to item 5, it would be recorded. Jocelyn or Amanda?
Thank you, through the chair. Seeing as it has business arising from delegation, we would do a recorded vote because the motion made in 2024 to have recorded votes for all business and bylaw and policy items, because it is a point of business as it is arising from the delegation, we would do a recorded vote. Should council desire to request a recorded vote, they can do that for reassurance as well.
Okay. I'm fine with that. And I think we can discuss it at the next agenda meeting to save time here. Is there anything else? Okay, so we have a motion. Councilor Moore, did you want to make that motion again?
Thank you,
And I
Mayor.
think can I just clarify, council members wishing to add items will provide context to the matter being presented. And these proposed item additions to the agenda will be voted on separately, so that's why we're voting on this separately. And the context of the item needs to be discussed or presented, it says.
Okay, the motion is to add to the closed meeting request to the Minister of Municipal Affairs. And would you like me to explain what that would be, or is that for the closed meeting? Right now, the request would not need to be discussed in this meeting unless you insist on it, but I'd be happy to explain it if you'd like me to.
Well, I think, Council Moore, you put us in a difficult position because you're asking for an item closed, so obviously the context should be discussed in closed.
Yes.
So that's why in future, item 42.2 needs to be adhered to, and I will be voting against it for that reason. So anyway, you've made the motion, and are there any questions? All right. So I will cite, the council member didn't provide advance notice to the mayor or CO or provide the notice of motion to the mayor or CO, so that's why I will be voting against it, because it's in contravention of our bylaw. And we could add it to the next meeting agenda and get it dealt with the proper way. So I'll call the vote. All in favor? And opposed? All right, that's carried.
Number does that become?
So it'll become item, I think we should actually do it, no, 13.3 we'll add then, or 12.3. So we'll just replace the top three as we discussed: personnel, then organizational update, and then municipal inspection. Okay, so now, yes, we have to adopt the agenda as amended. And you captured all those, Jocelyn? Thank you. Deputy Mayor?
I move the council adopt the agenda as amended.
All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Now we have our delegation here. Do we scooted out of the room really quick when she got here, and now welcome you back in. And the delegation request from Tracy Kasmer and Lori Fisher, representatives of the Disbury District Chamber of Commerce and the Disbury District Art Society. And two organizations are submitting a request to council for funding of a booth rental at the Disbury Trade Show, and some funding associated with that. So welcome to the speakers podium, Lori and Tracy. And there's a little button there to turn on your mic.
Well, thank you all for letting us speak to you tonight. My name is Tracy Kasmer, and I find myself, as of the last couple of weeks, the president of the Didsbury and District Chamber of Commerce. As some of you may know, like Lori Hodge has had to step back due to health reasons, and we are going to continue. We have a very small but a very enthusiastic board, and we believe that the Chamber can be an integral part of the Didsbury business community. And we realize we have an uphill climb to attempt to rebuild this organization. Our foremost plan is to bring networking events to the business community, and we are starting this next week with the meet and greet event that Alexa Ross has set up, and it's to be at Alberta, and we sincerely thank her for all her hard work in making this happen. And I just want to take a couple minutes and introduce you to the members of our board as it currently sits. So there's myself, and I'm the manager of the Red Apple store here in Didsbury since it opened in September of 22. I moved to Didsbury in the summer of 21 and worked at Bethany. And prior to that, I owned and managed a medium-sized business in Cochrane, and I was an active member of the Cochrane Chamber of Commerce. I am a firm believer in working collaboratively, and the more businesses come together, the stronger the economy of this lovely little town can be. One of my personal projects is employing and mentoring young adults. So many businesses complain about them, and too many young people leave their hometowns because of lack of employment. I work closely with young people in my own business and do so as much as I can at the Red Apple. Charlene Gies is our secretary and is one of the partners who recently obtained the Didsbury Country Inn. And their investment in the town of Didsbury was carefully thought out and given the great deal of growth in and around this area. Charlene is an integral member as a director of the Didsbury Chamber of Commerce. She has a long history as a director with the Airdrie Chamber of Commerce, and she is hopeful that this rebuilding stage will grow with the town, bringing in new supports, connections, and energy and new relationships. Volunteering with the Chamber is a priority of Charlene's, as is collaborating with other businesses, and to help the community grow the economy. Lori Fisher, who was to be my co-presenter tonight and got called away inadvertently, is being represented by her husband, Scott. But Lori and she's the owner-operator of the Yarn Merchant here in town. And she moved to Didsbury in December of 22, and with over 20 years of business ownership experience, she is excited to have the opportunity to live, work, and contribute to the economic development in Didsbury. Lori is a member of the Didsbury Economic Development Advisory Committee, is president of the new Didsbury and District Arts Society, and a director with the Didsbury and District Chamber of Commerce. She has previously been involved with the Calgary Chamber of Commerce. So as you can see, all of us have had quite a bit of experience with other chambers, so we hope to use a lot of that experience to bring some new ideas and events to the Didsbury Chamber. Lori is passionate about the ongoing opportunity to teach students of all ages, and she offers many classes through the Yarn Merchant. She is excited to have the opportunity to collaborate and facilitate connections within the business community. Jesse Davidson is our longest-term member and is a director of the Didsbury Chamber. He provides insight and assistance in guiding our new board. One of the reasons we would like to have a presence at the trade show is to connect with the many businesses that will be there and to introduce them to the long list of benefits that they can gain access to with a membership in their local Chamber of Commerce. These benefits include, but are not limited to, the Chamber's plan, which is an employee benefits plan. It offers comprehensive group benefits, including health and dental insurance, making it Canada's #1 employee benefits plan for small businesses. And probably could be very well utilized in a town this size, but it's just not marketed very well, so that is definitely one of our goals. Chamber members can access discounted property and auto insurance, office supply discounts, payroll and HR solutions, and Avalon payment processing. Chamber members can save 55% on shipping with Purolator. And they can also get gift discounts from Purdy's Chocolates. Can't pass that one up. A solid Chamber of Commerce in any business community can be a great asset. Our board members know this from their past experiences with Cochrane, Airdrie, and Calgary chambers. We hope to rebuild this organization and bring back some of its past significance in the town of Didsbury. And you can help us do this by getting started. So thank you.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. I'm Scott Fisher. As Tracy has pointed out, I'm here covering for Lori. I am the Executive Director on the Art Society, the newly formed one. So I'm also involved in the society. Tonight we're here asking for the funds in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce for a booth and some brochure materials to be handed out to prospective members for the Art Society. That'll be April 12th and 13th at the Didsbury Trade Show. And we're looking forward to working with Council, Chamber of Commerce, and businesses and members, artisans, makers, providing workshops and opportunities for artists locally as well as throughout the county.
Thank you both for being here. Deputy Mayor, do you have any questions?
So I think they did a pretty good job of showing us what this is. So you guys are wanting to share a half a booth, or are you getting a whole booth and each taking half?
We are looking at a smaller size booth, like an 8-foot table, and sharing that.
Okay, good. No problem. Thank you.
Councilor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. This is for a half booth space and for some startup material. I guess my question would be, and to each of you, why do you think the taxpayer should be paying for this?
First. Well, bringing art and presence of art to the community it helps build the community. It helps younger people as well as anybody else who does art to be able to express themselves and give us an opportunity to show off Didsbury as a town that has something to offer.
And as far as the Chamber of Commerce goes, like we consider this a great networking event, and to be able to be present at it would enable us to further our mandate, which we hope will really improve, the business community in Didsbury and help bring the chamber back to what it used to be, because it used to be a very strong driving force in this town. And at this point in time, we just don't have any membership, and therefore we have no money. And so for us to do anything, we need some help with that.
Is that answer your question?
Yes, but can I
Follow up?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. So Tracy, since you're representing businesses, wouldn't it be prudent to solicit sponsorship from the businesses themselves to facilitate your request here, rather than actually get from the taxpayers?
If we would have had a little more time, we probably would have done so. And we did try to do that with the country Christmas thing, but until you have a strong way to market yourself to the businesses, it's just hard for them to know what you stand for, and therefore to get their support. And so we just aren't at that point yet.
Councilor Moore?
I want to thank you for your presentation and for starting up things that have been important to us and making sure there isn't a lapse. And I'm excited for your future, and I wish you all the best.
Councilor Bazar?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Excuse me. What I like about this is bringing the experience of previous chambers to Didsbury. I mean, that experience is invaluable, and it helps you hit the ground running with ideas and processes that streamlines the chamber's operation. I'm looking forward to this because it's something we've been lacking in a long time, to tie all the businesses together, to get them on one team and pushing for Didsbury collectively, and the chamber is kind of a catalyst to do that. And I think the ask that you're asking here is seed money in order to get it going, and I don't have a problem with that at all. That's minuscule compared to the results we're going to get once this hits the ground rolling and running. Thank you for doing this for our town.
Yes, thank you, Lori and Tracy. I know I had a great meeting with the museum president recently, and the involvement of our new citizens. I know 3 years doesn't sound new, but I'm a lifer, so that sounds new to me. And I certainly appreciate the involvement that our newer residents to Disbury have invested in our well-being and moving these kinds of initiatives forward. And I do wish you all the success with this endeavor, and that the enthusiasm and spirit is there, and like Councillor Brazo said, the new ideas and the past experience. I wonder if we put this to the budget meeting on March 10th, is that too late of a timeline for you guys to be prepared?
Well, the trade show's about a month after that, so that should, I don't really know what the turnaround time is, for getting the funding, but I assume that would work fine.
And I only ask that because we haven't finalized our 2025 budget. I do know there's a proposed promotions line. I think it's 4,500. It went up from last year for some reason. Recommended. It was at 3,000, so 4,500. I'm not, I just asked that because if March 10th is possible, but because we have the funds and there's $600 ask, if it would put your minds at ease that we don't have to wait till March 11th to hear the answer, then I wouldn't.
Well, I think the biggest risk we run is that the trade show will fill up because they are selling out fairly quickly. So, and we don't want to book a booth if we can't pay for it. So, and then then renege on that. So,
and they don't hold spots for. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I can ask Diana, but I don't know how long it's fair to ask her to hold us a spot. Right.
Yeah, and I thank you for that, and I just had to ask because it's close for us, March 10th, for the budget meeting, but it might not be for you. Deputy Mayor.
Through the chair, I guess I would like to ask our acting CAO if the $608 is, if there's a fund left with it, I'd like to make a motion.
Well, we do have that minimum 3,000 that in the promotions fund. But go ahead, man.
Yeah, thank you, that's correct. I would recommend the council promo/public relations line for a request like this, which currently has, in the proposed budget, there's $4,500, which isn't specifically allocated to anything at this point.
I'll just say one more thing, that then council just has to guarantee they're going to put at least $600 in there so for the budget at our meeting. But go ahead with your motion.
I move the council approve the funding of one-half booth at the Didsbury Trade Show for the Didsbury and District Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Didsbury and District Art Society, as well as provide funding for the printing of promotional materials up to a maximum total amount of $601.88.
It's pretty precise. Okay, so don't go over to 89. Okay, so are there any other comments? And again, thank you very much for your enthusiasm and spirit for these things in the community. Yes?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I want to make sure that this is going to be recorded vote. We skipped through the agenda a little bit here. Because,
we did.
yes, we skipped through the agenda here.
I apologize. I took that motion, and we first have to make the motion to, I got ahead of myself too, so yes, I went ahead of the discussion. So just that we thank Tracy and Lori for the presentation. Do you want to do that as well?
Yeah, I'll rescind my motion for a second.
Yeah.
And thank you for your presentation. And then I would move to make my motion, which has been made. You what? Okay, so I recommend that council thank Tracy and Lori for presenting Scott. Sorry, I'm reading.
It's okay.
Representing the council on behalf of the Didsbury District Chamber of Commerce and the Didsbury and District Art Society.
And anyone that has referred to as Lori, apologies, that I probably did that too.
It's okay. I get it all the time.
Okay, and we're just trying to get organized here with our motion, so any comments on that? I'll just call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Go ahead.
And then my motion was to approve the funding of one half booth at the Didsbury Trade Show for the Didsbury and District Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Didsbury and District Art Society, as well as funding for the printing of promotional materials up to a maximum total amount of $601.88.
Go ahead.
May have been an error in that. They're getting a whole booth, not a half booth. Collectively, you know, how do we say that properly? Right? Because collectively, they're in one booth, one table. So this money is for the entire
For a
table.
small booth.
Yeah, the money's for the whole booth.
For the booth, yeah.
So Jocelyn, just, I think the intent is that each group would get a half booth, right? So that would make a whole booth with two groups. So I don't think we need to get, let's just, is there any other discussion on this? Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I will vote against this. I don't believe that this is what taxpayers should be paying for. I think the startup of an organization is the responsibility of the organization. It's not the responsibility of the taxpayers of Didsbury. So I will be voting against this.
All right, anything else, Deputy Mayor? Councillor Baswick? Call the vote, all in favor? And opposed? So that's carried. Thank you again for being here. We'll see you at the trade show, if not before.
Excellent. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council.
Yes, thank you all very much.
So we're on to item 4, adoption of the minutes of 4.1, February 11th, 2025, regular council meeting minutes. Councillor Baswick?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I move to adopt the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as presented.
Any comments? Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I think that there's probably needs to be amended, accepted as amended. There were errors on 3 different motions in the minutes. 2 of them don't change the flavor of the motions, so I'm not going to pick on them particularly. That's 060, 061, and 062. 062 indicates that the motion was to cancel the March 25th regular council meeting, and that's not the case. The motion was simply to direct that the March 25th regular meeting be rescheduled. And so it shouldn't say that it was canceled. And that's 062-25.
Okay, any discussion, Deputy Mayor?
I believe that he's right. So, we didn't have to cancel it. I remember the discussion that evening.
Councillor Baswick?
I accept it as amended.
Thank you. Councillor Moore?
No comment.
Okay, so just that amendment, Jocelyn, you captured that, I guess. And that was it, Councillor Baswick? Or Windsor?
Yes, the other 2 that are little not quite right, it didn't change the flavor of those,
Okay.
particularly the intent. And so we won't bother with them.
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to adopt the February 11th, 2025 regular council meeting minutes as amended. Call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. We have the February 20th, 2025 special council meeting minutes. Go ahead, Councillor Baswick.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I move to adopt the February 20th, 2025 special council meeting minutes as presented.
All right, any comments, Deputy Mayor? Councillor Windsor? Councillor Moore? Councillor Baswick, you made the motion, so I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, we now take a recess from regular council meeting. And I understand that this is the first public hearing that invites off-site people, viewers, participants. They're all right, like people. So, with that. Well, it's a municipal affairs minister that makes us do these things, so I find it hard to adjust into that. So I will call the public hearing to order at 6:48 p.m. And this is, the purpose of our meeting is one public hearing to consider a bylaw to amend land use bylaw 2019-04 to add dwelling unit occupancy of the owner, operator or caretaker. And the bylaw was given first reading on January 14th, 2025. My instructions are that I'll just read this one comment, that the chair of the public hearing has the right to limit the time taken by a person to 5 minutes, after which council may wish to ask questions of the person. All questions must be channeled through the chair of the meeting. And then what we'll do is have administration make the presentation regarding this amendment, and council will have questions. We'll ask from the gallery or Zoom if anyone would like to speak. And what we suggest is first those in favor, and second those opposed. And then we go back to council questions, additional comments from administration, and additional questions from council. And then last call, holy cow, for the public. So, and then we can end the public hearing if council doesn't have the final say. So Leanne Gaudet is here, our development officer, who will present the administrative information. Leanne?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Administration has recognized that the use for dwelling unit occupancy of the owner, operator, or caretaker has come up in several proposed development inquiries in both the industrial and commercial districts. During the drafting of the new municipal development plan, a policy was included in the MDP to support such a use. With the support of this use now included in the MDP, administration is proposing an amendment to the land use bylaw so that it aligns with the MDP. Council granted first reading to bylaw 2025-01, amending land use bylaw 2019-04, dwelling unit occupancy of owner, operator, or caretaker at the January 14, 2025 regular council meeting. After a review of the previous land use bylaws, administration found that the proposed use was previously included in the previous 4 land use bylaws. Bylaw 2013-03, Bylaw 2011-03, Bylaw 2004-13, Bylaw 2000-08. The proposed wording for this use and the proposed definition is exactly the same as what was outlined in the previous land use bylaws. The public hearing notification was posted on the Town of Didsbury website and advertised in the Albertan on February 4th, 11th, 18th, and today's paper to allow the public to submit any comments or concerns related to these amendments. Administration did not receive any comments or letters of concern. Administration recommends that land use bylaw 2019-04 be amended to add the following definition. Dwelling unit occupancy of the owner, operator, or caretaker means dwelling unit that is secondary to the primary use on a parcel. and to add dwelling unit occupancy of the owner, operator, or caretaker as a discretionary use to the following districts: C1 Commercial District General, C2 Commercial District Highway, C3 Commercial District Core, RC Residential Commercial District, and I1 Industrial District General. If council is satisfied with the public hearing, administration is recommending that council grant second and third reading to bylaw 2025-01 during the bylaws and policy portion of the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Council Deputy Mayor, do you have any questions?
Nothing's changed since the first reading, I'm good.
Okay. Councilor Windsor? Councilor Bassick? Councilor Moore?
Yes, this is a really positive thing. This does come up often in our MPC. And when there is just no employees and there's just an owner occupier that is not, it's not primary use of it, we have gone through a lot of bureaucracy, which, and it clearly is something that could be improved with a lot less trouble and contributes to our incubators that eventually sometimes become larger businesses. So it's a very positive thing, and I'm very much in favor of it.
All right, I don't have any questions. Do we have any from the gallery or on the Zoom link? Is anybody on the Zoom link? Okay, Councilor Bassick? Oh, well, we're not done yet. No, we don't need a motion because we don't need that motion. So I'm going to ask that if there's any other comments from council or questions. And any additional information or comments from administration?
Thank you, Mayor. None, thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's try to find more pages here. So, okay, I'm sorry that we generally don't make the motion at the end of the hearing, we move to an item, so I think I meant to bring that up. But is there any reason that we can't? Because generally we close the meeting and then we put it onto the agenda at a later time to deal with the public hearing. I'm sorry. Yes, I just saw the motion here. Yeah, recommendation. Sorry, I was reading that differently. I apologize to administration for that misinterpretation. So I will have a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
Sure.
Councilor Moore? All in favor? I don't know if I need a vote on that because I didn't. Anyway, we'll come out of recess from the RC and the regular council meeting, or from the public hearing, go back to the regular council meeting. On to the CAO report. Comments? Anything to add to the CAO report right now, Amanda?
There is one item we'd like to add, just a verbal update. The town received a donation of $25,000 for the arena related to the breakdown of the ice plant. So more information will be forthcoming on that because we would like to thank the sponsor and celebrate that. But we just wanted to let you know about that. That is good news we would like to share.
That is good news, thank you. Deputy Mayor, anything?
Yeah, thank you. I know there'll be more on that, but what a wonderful gesture. That's very much appreciated.
Anything else on the CAO report?
Oh,
Yeah, we're on the CAO report.
sorry. Just a question. Said on February 14th, 2025, the town made the final payment on a loan for land at the Shawn subdivision The town's outstanding total debt is currently $1.456,688,000. Is that our total debt or just debt on Sean's?
Thank you for the question. That is our total debt outstanding.
Okay, so that's what I wanted to comment on. That that's an incredibly good figure to have our debt now down to under $1.5 million. Congratulations to everyone involved in that.
All right, Councilor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I have quite a few questions. I'm going to start out on the third quarter engineering and infrastructure, where it indicates that there were 700 man-hours spent revitalizing the Southbridge playground. And I'm wondering if there was any disruption of service to the community because of the equivalent of 4.5 months of a full-time employee, 40-hour-a-week employee, expended on the revitalization of the playground.
So an interruption in service level
Yeah.
is what you're asking. Amanda, can someone answer that?
Thanks. I'll refer that question to Craig Fox.
Good evening, thank you for the question. We anticipate, so when the capital budget gets approved, Public Works is anticipating to do the work of the playground. So we prepare all summer long in order to front load those pieces of infrastructure replacement or maintenance that are required so that we have the capacity to take on that work. So it is it puts a lot of pressure on the department to be able to be allowed the personnel to be available for that, but the other way that the project gets delivered is through contractors and funding in a different way. So it's the contribution of the department to the process, but yeah, it does take a fair bit of effort to execute these playgrounds, but it's something that we've done consistently through the years.
Thanks for that. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Looking then at the loan, the Shantz loan, it says that we made our last payment, thank goodness for that, but it says that it's plus $25,000 per acre when the land is sold. So I guess, I'm assuming then we haven't paid that $25,000, and yet then that is still an outstanding debt that we have to pay once the land actually sells. Would that be correct? And then the second part of that would be, how many acres, and so what is the total?
Great question. Just a little clarity on the statement there. That meant over the years during the term of the loan, if land was sold, then we would pay an additional, not an additional, but an upfront $25,000 per acre sold. But now that the loan has been paid out in full, if we sell land after this point, we wouldn't be responsible for any more money.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. On that same point, it says that our current outstanding debt is $1,456,688. But in our agenda package, or in our budget package, on page 31, it states that the debt outstanding at December 31st, 2024 was $1,504,902. And so I'm wondering where the discrepancy is.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Thank you. So this is the debt outstanding as of February 14th in the package. So that's after considering that this loan was paid off. The agenda, or what you're referring to, the 1.5 million, was as of December 31st.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. No, I've got a few more questions. Thank you, Mayor Hunter. On page 23 of our agenda package, it talks in explanation R2, talks about $11,000 of unbudgeted revenue coming from the AHS and AHS grant that wasn't expected. I'm wondering if that is going to be into the unbudgeted revenue for allocation later in the agenda. I didn't see it there, and I'm wondering why it's not there.
Okay, thank you. So that 11,000, although it was unexpected, it did allow, it was used for specific items, which was training for our fire department members, specifically advanced first aid training, and the ability to replenish medical supplies for the fire department. So it actually just offset those expenses. And while we didn't go over on the expenditures, that offset would have just created a kind of a surplus in the expense lines, per se. So if you want to consider it as unbudgeted revenue, by all means, council could do that as well. So when the revenue is for a specified purpose, because that's what we needed to use it for as per the grant requirements, then it doesn't, you don't really have as much ability to allocate it to other things.
Okay. Thank you. I'm not yet, it's not it, but thank you for that. Transfer, in E9, we talk about transfers from reserves, and I'm not seeing those numbers in the reserves continuity schedule on page 26. So I'm wondering where those transfers from reserves, where I would see them on page 26. And now I gotta get to page 26, because I'm not there.
So also a good question. Although we group, so as you all are aware, the Shant subdivision has created an internal loan over time. So it's not truly a transfer from reserve, it's transfer from that internal loan and to offset the expenses of Shant. So really it would show up on kind of an internal loan schedule that we actually have not provided in the package. So something that I was kind of thinking of when I was preparing this, that it's an opportunity to be a report to council added. Yeah.
Thank you, Meredith. So just to follow up on that, if I may, there was a transfer, similar transfer in 2024 for the subdivision department as well, and so that would also be in that same thing.
Yeah.
And I guess is that creating unfunded reserves?
No. No, so this is different than reserves. It's actually the opposite way, because than a transfer to reserve. It's coming out. The town is lending money to itself, so it's creating a kind of a loan, increasing the loan balance. So no, it's not unfunded reserves. It's an internal loan that is yet to be repaid.
So I'm just trying to understand. So essentially what you're saying then is that it's not really a money transfer at all, it's simply a paper trail.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Is that it?
I think I have one more. On E5, you talk about $30,000 for the snow wing that we never purchased. And I'm wondering if that ends up being part of the budget surplus. Is that how that is accounted for?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. And that's, I think, all I had. The only other question was the $50,000 that deposit from Wellings on lots 2, 10, 11, and 12 of Sean's. That would be being held in trust by the lawyer?
That is my understanding. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Councilor Boswick, any questions? Councilor Moore?
It's not a question. I'm always excited when projects are done under budget and successfully and within scope. So on the 23rd Street sewer line and the lagoon dredging project, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay, I know that I'm going to bring this up because I talked about it with someone today, and where the urban systems housing needs assessment is. I know we wanted to reschedule that, so, and we're running out of time. And I know it's not, I just asked administration where our urban system is with that.
At this point, we haven't been able to obtain options for dates, and that's why it hasn't been brought back to this meeting. But as soon as we are able to get that information, we will be bringing it to your table.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I think everybody had the land loan and the debt probably noted. A question about that we continue to fund, and I'm going to look at that one, R7. There's too many pages for reference that. R7. There it is. So we're 631% over on that. And is that's just on interest and stuff. So is that sustainable, like going forward, or do we, because the interest rates have changed, and that's just kind of an anomaly right now because of, am I correct in thinking that?
Actually, so investment income, the way that I budget is just for the income earned on the checkings account, because everything else is reinvested, for the most part, into our reserve accounts. So when the money is reinvested, it's going to show up top as investment income, and it's showing up as an expense as well, because it's a transfer to reserve, because those two things offset each other. So when you take out what was earned in investment accounts, in your reserve accounts, it amounted to about $106,000 in interest earned in the checkings account. That's the revenue that's offsetting taxes, only 106. So yes, we still are realizing a surplus on that budget line by about $30,000, but it's not what it kind of appears to be like in this report. And I did budget I was a little conservative there because I wasn't sure when back in 2023, preparing the 2024 budget, what interest rates were going to do. And we did see them come down a bit a few times, and again in 2025, but not to the extent that I initially thought when I was preparing the budget. So yeah, we have a little bit of room there to potentially be less conservative. But again, I don't have a clear picture of what interest rates are going to continue to do.
Yeah, I think everybody likes conservative. I think that's just a exceptional situation. I'm just interested in the status of that Phase 2 environmental site assessment that we allocated $50,000 to. Just where we're at with that. And maybe do we have that coming, and maybe I don't need to ask it right now, Amanda. Maybe we have that coming back to our committee of whole.
Okay.
So I'll wait for that then.
Oh yeah,
I just thought of that right now.
You're right, that will come back with that report date.
And I always want to point out how underfunded we are from our municipal affairs minister. 2024, we get $813,000 from LGFF. We go up to $950,000 in 2025, and then we drop again by over $100,000 down to $831,000 in 2026. So again, I say yes, it's predictable, but it's definitely not sustainable. And when we look at our grant continuity schedule, we see that with all the projects we have on hand and underfunding chronically from our provincial government. So, I have no more questions, I do, but I won't, I can ask them another time. And I can go ahead,
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Sticking through my notes, I missed one. And on page 21, which is the Development Officer Report and Development, Planning and Development, under the permits, it has the applicant owner as, there's a A and an O in brackets. Is that the applicant and the owner, and it's not necessarily the same?
I'll, through the chair, refer this to our development officer.
Thank you, yes. So A is for applicant and O is for owner. So in this particular instance, the demolition, of course, the mobile home park is owned by a numbered company, and the applicant is the manager who applied for this permit. So in the development permit application, there is a spot for number 1 will be the owner information, number 2 will be applicant, and then there's an authorization on page 2 that says this applicant can act on their behalf.
great. Thanks everybody for the questions. And thanks again to all the departments for your thorough reports and updated and informative. I always appreciate the work that goes into these department reports. And I do want to say one last thing about, sorry to hear of Sean Kinsley's resignation from DDAC. I know he's a really valuable asset to that committee with all of his experience in economic development. So being a valuable member, I, again, will send a letter of thanks for his time spent dedicated to our committee work. And having said that, I'll have a motion to accept the SCO report as information. Deputy Mayor?
I move the council accept the CAO report as information.
All right, call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Well, here we get to vote on this bylaw amendment. Item 7.1. We just had the public hearing, heard all the information, and if the recommendation was if council was comfortable with all the information, then we would move to second and third reading. So who would like to grant second reading? Councillor Bezic?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I move to grant second reading to bylaw 2025-01, amendment to land use bylaw 2019-04, the dwelling unit, occupancy of owner, operator, or caretaker. One at a time.
One at a time. Do you have any comments to that?
Pardon?
Do you have any follow-up comments? Councillor Moore? Deputy Mayor? Councillor Windsor? I will call the vote then on second reading to bylaw 2025-01, amendment to land use bylaw 2019-04. All in favor? That's carried. Councillor Bezic?
Thank you, Mayor. And to grant third and final reading to bylaw 2025-01, amendment to land use bylaw 2019-04, dwelling unit, occupancy of the owner, operator, or caretaker.
Any final comments? I will call the vote then on the third and final reading to the same bylaw. The same amendment to the same bylaw. Call all in favor? That's carried. Thank you, everyone. Thanks to our Planning and Development Department for being here, and our MPC chairperson. Somebody take on page 72, so I'll find it in my... Did you take that? Deputy Mayor, while I wasn't looking?
I have
We have item 8, business, so 8.1, DOSCA year-end reconciliation, and that's Disbury Out of School Care Association reconciliation. Do we have, we can have a motion here, and then we can discuss it. Deputy Mayor?
I move the council refer the 2024 year-end reconciliation, DOSCA, to the Financial Planning Committee for review and recommendation.
Any comments on that? Deputy Mayor? Councilor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I think it would be valuable to have some direction, a little bit of direction from council as to how they feel about this. This is not sustainable. Last year, the deficit was 22,000 plus. And I forget whether it was change or closer to 23. And this year it's 24. The repayment schedule for these things is not sustainable. And so I'm wondering if council has any observations that they would like us to take into consideration while we're deliberating this at FPC.
Deputy Mayor?
Well, obviously, it would be interesting to find out what is causing the deficit. Are we under budgeting, or like I see that it's short, but I guess it would be valuable to know why. If that can be taken into consideration.
When I was last on that committee and we discussed this, there was a possibility of perhaps increasing the fees, at least for those that can pay, and the decision was not to do that. And so when your revenues, when your expenses keep going up and your revenues don't, then this is what happens. And so unless there is will of council to start increasing some of the fees, then this will continue. So I guess I would be interested in knowing whether or not council would be interested in having fees increased, at least for those that can afford to pay.
Councilor Baswick? Comment? Sorry, I'll take my comments to committee. And we have a motion unless there's any other comments on that. Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Did you have your hand up? No. Sorry. Okay. We have item 8.2, Utilities Department year-end reconciliation. Motion? Councilor Moore?
I move to approve the transfer of the 2024 Water Department surplus of $18,101 to the Water Reserve.
Any comments? Councilor Moore, comments, follow-up? Councilor Windsor or Baswick? Deputy Mayor?
What about the wastewater surplus? Or is that a second motion?
Yeah, they're,
Okay,
yeah.
sorry. I'm just reading into it.
No comment.
Councilor Windsor?
It's in concert with our policies.
So I will call the vote, then all in favor? That's carried.
I move to approve the transfer of the 2024 wastewater department surplus of $181,224 to the wastewater reserve.
Any follow-up comments? Councilor Baswick? Councilor Windsor? Deputy Mayor? Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried.
I move to approve the transfer of the 2024 solid waste department surplus of $38,472 to the water reserve.
Comments? Councilor Baswick? Councilor Windsor? Deputy Mayor? Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Okay. Should make them all easy like this, Amanda. 8.3 3.3, 2024 year-end reserve allocation. Motion? It's a lot of pages. Councillor Baswick?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Recommend to approve transferring the 2024 subdivision deficit of $238,772 to internal borrowing due from subdivision, the balance of which is to be repaid from future sales of Sean's lots 1, 2, 10, 11, and 12.
Any comments, Councillor Baswick?
Pardon me?
Any comments?
No, ma'am.
Councillor Moore? Deputy Mayor? Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. So, like, this is again like an internal loan, so we've done this last year as well, to a similar amount. And so, when those lots eventually sell, these loans have to be, or the internal loans have to be repaid, so then the proceeds that we get from the sales of these property won't be able to be used for other projects. And I just wonder, is that a correct statement?
Is that, you asking me, because I don't know. I'll answer
I
that.
have to ask.
I know, I'm Amanda.
So, good question. Essentially, yes, if over time everything that was a surplus got allocated to reserves, then yes, that would be the answer. However, what is more practical is that, so on paper, the internal loan will go away because you'll have revenue to allocate to that department, which will offset the internal loan. And then we'll find that we have excess cash flow available in our checkings account. And so that's where every year we talk about the unallocated surplus on the financial statements. And that's kind of what that money is. It's unallocated surplus. So then we go and look at what do we need for cash flow for operating and what can we reserve otherwise. So we would probably suggest repaying or cash funding the rest of the wastewater reserve. And then if there's excess cash flow, putting that forward to council to say what should we do with this? Should we reserve it, the specific reserve, leave it in general operating, which is unlikely, or something else?
And it's because, if I may, and it's because the internal loans are just a paper trail, not cash.
Right, that's
Okay,
correct.
got it. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
No.
Yeah, I don't have any questions either. So, we'll get to the motion page. Oh, you have another question?
If I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. On page 35 of our agenda, we have the land valuation for lots 2, 10, 11, and 12 at $2,433,900. And it was that same number a year ago in April 20-something. Where's that number come from?
Previous, it was a assessment value.
Okay.
And to be honest, I didn't update it for this year's value.
Okay.
All right. So we have a motion to approve the transfer.
You need a second one?
No. I guess I do have one, and maybe it's been asked, but I've been shuffling papers. Why do we continue to budget that number for subdivision sales? If it's always an internal, not always, but the internal loan kicks in.
Well, because I don't necessarily know if a sale is happening, so we could transfer it on or I could budget it on the transfer from loan line. So we're planning for a loan. Yeah, I don't know, I probably don't have a good answer. At the end of the day, we want to break even because we don't want to impact taxes. Because the subdivision pays for itself, but over time. But whether it's on one line item or the other in the budget, I guess it's not necessarily.
So if we didn't budget that, we'd have to cut expenses somewhere to balance, like to not increase tax.
Yeah, we can't cut the expenses because the expenses are tangible loan payments.
Just in the,
And the subdivision department itself needs to break even. So the only other option other than to budget for lot sales is to budget for this transfer from the loan, and which are both considered revenue items.
and when I say why do we do that, it's, we adopt the budget. So
Yeah.
when it comes up in March 10th that we're dealing with the budget again, that's
Well,
something I'm aware of.
and for this year, we do anticipate lot sales, but it would be more than 238,000. But we're still not budgeting for that. We're budgeting to break even because we have that internal loan in the background. That will be dealt with after a sale.
So you should have said that first, and then
Oh, okay.
I would have been happy right away. Thank you for those answers. Okay, so we have the motion to approve transferring the 2024 subdivision deficit. I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. Councilor Bowser, oh, you're ready for that other one? Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to refer the 2024 year-end reserve allocation to the Financial Planning Committee for review and recommendation.
Comments? Councilor Bowser? Deputy Mayor? Councilor Windsor? Councilor Moore shook her head, so I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. We have item 8.4, the 2025 FCSS funding recommendations. And Shannon Wilcox is here, our FCSS director. And she's been waiting all this time, so thank you for being here, Shannon.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Very excited to be here tonight. Oh, there we go. Probably you can hear me a little bit better now. That's wonderful. I wouldn't usually be able to present to you tonight. Generally, it would be Nicole. She's unable to attend this evening. As you can see in your package, there is the recommendations for this year's funding. Just like to impart on Mayor and Council that these decisions are a little bit behind in schedule, and I know that our service groups and organizations are eager to hear your decision as they impact their planning for the remainder of the year. In regards to the FCSS grants, I just want to impart as well that the purpose of these dollars is to enhance programming that is happening in the community, not to sustain them. I'm very excited to say that as we look forward with the FCSS dollars, really our aim is to connect the community, to enhance the programs that are already happening. We have some things on the books that Didsbury has not seen before. For example, Service Canada, CRA will be coming to Didsbury bi-monthly to offer in-house clinics. This is huge for our seniors and residents who don't have transportation, as well as offering and connecting services that are within the community. I think there's a lot of service groups who are eager to work together, but maybe those connections haven't been made. I'm happy to be that conduit. So if you'd like, I can go through the document and just explain some of the funding recommendations, and if you have questions as we go, I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability, if that works for you.
Well, I think, because that would take a lot of time.
It would. If there's any specific
I'm gonna go around
questions.
if there's anybody that has questions. And
Wonderful.
I really appreciate your preamble and introduction there. 'Cause,
Thank you.
very exciting, the things that are going on. Deputy Mayor, do you have questions?
Yeah, and this is just to help me sort of understand. So do Olds and Karsters also get FCSS funding?
Pardon me?
Olds and Carstairs, do they get FCSS funding as well?
Correct, they do.
So, I'm in favor, I understand the committee gets together and I will vote in favor of this.
Mhm.
But I'm just trying to understand, like, we're taking our community dollars and sending them there. Are they returning their FCS dollars into Didsbury as well?
I'm guessing you were referring to the Comic-Con. Is that what you're referring to? Which?
Yeah, Comic-Con and I think Boys and Girls Club, there's.
So Boys and Girls Club, those programs are happening here in Didsbury. That's what the funding is received for.
Okay.
And in regards to Comic-Con, what that is that is a regional partnership amongst all libraries. All libraries are receiving the same request. All FCSS within the region we have met, and we are all recommending the same amount of funding. So last year it was in Carstairs, this year it will be in Olds, perhaps next year it will be in Didsbury. So each community has an opportunity to benefit.
Perfect, you answered the question and I appreciate that, thanks.
You're welcome.
Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Shannon, I'm looking at the DOSCA before and after school program.
Yes.
And that's obviously been pushed now to financial planning to see where we're going to go with that.
Mhm.
And that my concern would be approving that before financial planning has an opportunity to look at it. And yeah, once it's gone, it's gone. Like, you don't pull it back afterwards. Essentially, because of the funding that goes through FCSS, in addition to the deficit, that's $41,000 that the user fees aren't being paid. And so I'm concerned about what that program is doing. So that would be my concern, is that DOSCA one, and until we have a chance to look at it, find out what the prognosis is for it, what the plan of attack is for it for the future. I'm not in favor of doing that at this point. Is there a possibility that those funds could be withheld until such time as we have that opportunity to look at that and see what their plan is to become more sustainable?
I certainly understand your concern. I believe you could accept the recommendations with the exception of DOSCA, referring that to your financial planning committee, but I'll refer that to Amanda for consultation.
Yeah, I agree with, if council is ready to approve the remaining funding scenarios, then I would just recommend you pull DOSCA out and until it's, that you've had a chance to look at that separately.
Okay, go ahead.
And maybe this is premature, Mayor Hunter, but in the event that we do pull that out and that those funds are held, I guess, in trust, I'm not sure how they would be held somehow. If we do come up with a plan, then obviously I think the funds would be allocated at that time. If there isn't a fund that makes it sustainable, then what happens to those funds?
So I'll provide a little input and then I'll let Shannon answer, but if we would want to have it early enough in the year that I believe we could go back out to our groups for a second round of funding.
We certainly could, as well as please note that these are just the requests that have come in from user groups. This does not include all of the external requests that will come in throughout the year. For example, you notice that Family School Wellness does not receive dollars. I've met with the schools to let them know that though they're not receiving a lump sum, we're certainly able to partner by way of bringing in speakers, seminars, things like that, so that those dollars could be reallocated to those projects. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Councillor Beswick?
Thank you, Mayor. Shannon, I like what I see and the hard work you do. This is so valuable to our community, and I can see by the effort you made here, the reduction in recommended funding, all that kind of thing. There's been a lot of work gone into this, and I appreciate your effort, and I'd like to see this move forward. I have no adjustments to make to this. I think you've done a very, very good job of doing the number crunching to make it work for your group. So
Thank you.
yeah, I'm moving forward with this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, essentials for the community. I see that they aren't allocated funding but they are our most vulnerable people in our community, and it looks like it wasn't eligible, but is there a way to be able to find elements of the things that they do that are eligible, that you might be able to allocate some funding for the valuable programs that they do?
Certainly, Councillor Moore, the issue is that their application was for food. We are unable under the FCSS mandate to fund food, but certainly in terms of speakers and special events that they would like to hold to help and serve that vulnerable population, FCSS would be a wonderful partner for them there, and that they will certainly be made aware of that.
Okay, so do you give them that advice then?
Certainly.
They could apply for things other than food, like could they apply for the facility?
I believe that they have been contacted 3 times to be made aware of what would be applicable under FCSS funding. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And my recall is that they've applied several times.
Correct.
And been worked with on those things, so. And it's on the form of the qualification criteria, I believe, but at the same time, you mentioned something there about funding that I have thought on. But I'm going to say, because you had that $11,000 remaining, I appreciate that, use it to improve our town run programs, and they're great to see those. And I know I wander over to the seniors program there at the NP once in a while, and they just love it, and their groups are growing and very welcoming and inclusive. It's nice to see. And I think one of the ringleaders is our soon-to-be 99-year-old Bill Jepps. So that's great to see, and thanks to him for spiriting the group on. And I did lose my train of thought on my question, so I won't belabor that. And we need, I guess, if Councilor Bowser would need a motion, if you want to make that motion to reduce the DOSCA, or you do?
No, I have one
Okay.
question.
Because we need the number. Go ahead.
So I'm wondering if by pulling this off, we're affecting DOSCA at it's $17,000. Is there any way to just approve this, and if our findings come back, that money would come back? Like, I don't know how to withhold it, and then they come up an additional $17,000 short. That might not be good either.
Go ahead, Amanda.
Thank you. So DOSCA, remember DOSCA is a town department. So because it is still operating, like it's town funds that's funding it. So even if that money came across, it's not physical dollars, it's just a paper transaction. We don't, because we're not paying ourselves. So it would still be able to operate with or without it. And before the year is done for DOSCA, I anticipate council would make a decision on that. So
Thank you.
it's not going to impact its operations.
Okay, thanks for that. Any questions? So, Councilor Moore?
Yes, I would like to make the motion, but I would also like to say that anything that we are able to provide DOSCA with 80% provincial funding, to me is a huge win, because it is a town department, and rather than paying 100% of it for any deficit, which there certainly will be even after the 17,000, is going to be worse than getting 80% funding. So that why wouldn't we take provincial money for the deficit for a program that's going to have a deficit? So I'll make the motion as it is here, and people can vote as they choose. So I would move to approve the 2025 Family and Community Support Services Community Grant Funding as presented, valued at $52,224, and that the remaining funds be used to support town-run FCSS programs for community users.
Maria, any comments or questions on that? I think, did you have one you slide?
No, because I've already spoken. I've said my piece.
Then, I mean, whatever the committee comes back with, if it's internal, I've heard that it just can be reversed. Yeah, so it's not like we send it out to the group and then go to their door and knock and say, we'd like that back. So I'd be fine with that because the committee recommendation will certainly be relative to where this heads. So thank you for your presentation. Shannon?
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Well done.
Thank you.
It's not your first time in front of any council, but in front of this one it is. I'll call the vote then. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Yep.
Do you need a,
The second one?
no, yeah, a motion to have the financial
There's-
planning committee?
Well, that's right. There.
It was done already?
No, the second one needs to be done.
That's an or.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Justin's on.
Yeah, I thought it was an and, so I'm quite an item having. So I should have a recess and go get some fresh air. I was inside all day, that's my problem. Okay. What?
So the next one's gonna make a motion.
What are you making though? That's an or, I was told.
For what?
An or.
No, for 8.5.
I haven't got there yet. It's just, I was busy organizing my
I know.
papers.
I was just trying to speed you up.
Thank you. Well, next time just say speed up, please.
Speed up.
Okay, we have 8.5. Naming of vendor roads in Valorosa. Does anybody want to make that motion?
I move the council approve the road names Valorosa View and Valorosa Green for SE 24-008 and Valorosa Phase 2 subdivision as presented.
Any comments or follow-up on that?
Yes.
I'm getting to you. I was going to go to Deputy Mayor and then Councillor Windsor. Councillor Baswick.
Are you ready?
Well, yeah, well, just,
Okay. I was kind of hoping for Baswick Freeway or something like that, but it's not a long enough run to really do it. So I like it.
as soon as,
It's not very creative, but I like it.
as soon as you have Baswick Crossing or Baswick Heights, you could have Baswick Roads.
I like your thinking.
Okay, we'll watch for that. Councillor Moore? Yeah, great to see these here and great to see our planning development department busy and helping main roads. So I don't think you got to help, you got to present them. So I will call the vote then. All in favor? That's carried. We have item 8.6, DDAC Chamber of Commerce Representative Appointment. Councillor Moore?
I move that to council appoint Lori Fisher as the Didsbury District Chamber of Commerce representative on the Didsbury Economic Development Advisory Committee.
Comments? Councillor Baswick? Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I'm going to go back to the same thing that I've had in the last couple of meetings, is that I don't believe the DDAC committee is following the bylaws, so I'll be voting against this motion.
Okay. Deputy Mayor?
No comment.
I just think we have to remind Lori that he can't stand in for, or Scott can't stand in for Lori on the committee, if that happens. All right, I'll call the vote. All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. We have item 8.7, the Suncor Brownfield Project update. Councillor Baswick?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I'll move to accept the Suncor Brownfield project update as information.
Any comments or questions? Councillor Beswick? Councillor Moore? Deputy Mayor?
I don't, yeah, I would wonder if we should be addressing our economic development officer on that to see if she has any information. I think at one point she was working on it, but I don't know that. I'm not in economic development, obviously. But that would be my only comment is maybe somehow getting the question out to her to see where we're at with it. We should know where we're at some point.
Thanks for that. Amanda, do you have any comments on that?
I guess just to clarify, yeah, this is the information that's available. Unfortunately, the Suncor hasn't got back to us with the requested information to continue with the agreement at this time. So I don't think there is additional information today that's available, but we can certainly, we'll keep working towards that for sure.
Okay. Councillor Windsor?
Mayor Hunter, thank you. This is on the agenda because of a motion I made. And the motion, as in the minutes, was that administration bring back a complete report on all costs and documents. No, wrong one. The administration provide a report on all information on the Suncor Brownfield project and bring the information to the February 25th, 2025 regular council meeting. This is anything but all information. This is an update. This isn't a report. And so we've been at this since 2017. In 2020 and 2023, April of 2023, we had a presentation from the Economic Development Officer. This council has been looking at this for an extended period of time, and we seem to be floundering and going nowhere. And so somehow I'd like to, if we can, because we're coming up to the construction season, because we're coming up to summer, I just wonder if there's any way that we could expedite this in some way or fashion. Somehow, I think that over the course of the life of this project, there's been things that have been delayed for whatever reason. There's been maybe a change in stewardship, and so I think that if there's some way that we could expedite the project, maybe put some focus on it, or something that would get move this forward. If it's a problem with the agreement, then let's get on with the agreement. I haven't seen the agreement, so I don't know if it's acceptable to council or not. I have no idea. So I just, we're coming up to construction. I would like to have this somewhat moving before the end of our term, if it's possible.
This agreement is not something that I've been involved in very much. I have reviewed an initial draft of the agreement, but don't have enough first-hand account of the discussions that have kind of gone on there. So it's something that I'll have to take a little bit of time to get caught up on. So we can definitely look into that and try to get this moving forward.
So, Mayor Hunter, I'm wondering if there's a direction that administration would like us to give them that would assist with I mean, we're supposed to give direction through motions, and so I guess I'm wondering if there's something that would assist our CAO with having a basis on which to move forward with it.
And maybe I can just add to that I'd be interested in council having the lease and having administration's concerns with it, so we could have a discussion with administration on that. And I know lease would go into closed, but if we had the opportunity to even see what the issues are, and maybe there'd be an opportunity to have a good discussion about it just among council and based on the concerns that administration has. Councilor Razic?
Thank you, Mayor. I think in all fairness to administration, with the recent change, we have to give them ample time to do this. When you know nothing about it effectively, and all of a sudden you're thrown into something like this, it's a major project. You can't do that in 2 weeks or whatever. So I think it'd be most fair of us to give our CAO the opportunity to, because of the two hats that she is wearing, that she's going to have to split her time, and she's going to need, I don't want to pressure her. I won't accept that kind of thing. So time has to be allotted fairly to our CAO to bring that forward.
Yeah, I didn't hear timelines or pressure. I heard that we would like to have it back to, so we could have it, and I think Councilor Windsor asked how that could happen, and we certainly like that information from our acting CAO. If there's, do you want her to, or Amanda, do you have any answers? I know you said you're not familiar with it and whatnot, so whatever the motion was that we have on books, should that report back when you have the information? Is that, and nobody's asking you to do it tomorrow, or we all know that you have a lot on your table right and on your plate right now. So what's the best answer from you that would work for you?
I'm not sure. Can you ask me a financial question?
You answered all those already, so you have no more.
So, I mean, I'll talk to all the parties that have had a role in this to get caught up to speed, and figure out who our contact is at Suncor and go from there. As far as a more complete report, other than the actual lease agreement, I'm not sure what other information there is, but if it exists, I can get that back to you as well.
And whenever it's available, we understand Amanda will work on this when her schedule allows. So as long the motion's on the books, and I think I certainly agree that Amanda will bring. I believe that Amanda will bring it back when she has the information available, without that undue pressure to come next meeting with it. And I understand, I agree to May's coming and April and spring's coming, and that, there's an opportunity there for this part, but are you fine leaving it at that we just have it back when Amanda, when our CEO has the time to put it together?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Yeah, essentially I was asking for her direction as to what she needs to assist her in moving forward with it. And so if that's all it is for right now, then that's fine. I'm okay with that. But don't expect me to not keep asking.
I need more hours.
Yeah. Are you done, Debbie? Okay. All right, so we have some information here on the brownfield. That we need a motion on. Yeah, sorry. Councillor Bazard did make that motion. Do you have a comment?
No, I didn't remember any motion.
Yes.
It's been a while.
Okay, anything else then? I will call the vote. All in favor? That's carried. I write it down, you should write it down if you make a motion. So item 8.8, update authorized signatories. Thank you, ladies, for sitting through our exciting meeting. It's the addition that we had on our desk. And does anybody have it available to make the motion? Item 8.8, go ahead. Item 8.8, it's up on the screen in case.
I move the council approve the town of Didsbury bank signing authorities as follows. Mayor Rhonda Hunter, Deputy Mayor Curtis Ingold, Councillor John Baswick, Councillor Dorothy Moore, Councillor William Bill Windsor, that's the only full name, I'll go back, Kurt Ingold, Chief Financial Officer Amanda Riley, and Manager of Financial Services Shannon Milligan.
All right. Any comments or questions on that, Deputy Mayor? Councillor Windsor, Councillor Baswick, Councillor Moore. You should sit beside me, we'd have more fun. Yeah. Wait down there. I call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, we have council reports and meeting highlights, and I'm gonna, because I'm gonna remind myself, start with meeting highlights, Deputy Mayor, and then your report.
Okay. My meeting highlight is the $25,000 donation to our arena. Short and sweet. That was fantastic. My meeting report's probably just as short. On the 18th, we had a DDAC meeting. Obviously, the 20th and 24th were special council meetings. That's it.
All right. Thank you. Councillor Windsor.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. Parkland Regional Library, we meet with them, I think that's on Thursday. I have a meeting with them. The only thing that needs to be said more than that is that there is a growing concern with regard to the Parkland Regional Library, the website, and that there is a contingent of managers that are looking toward meeting with the administration of Parkland to see what can be done about that. And until that's complete, the board, I won't get the board involved.
Sorry, I have to call a point of order on you. The mayor asked for a highlight first.
Thank you.
And I think
I'll take that point of order.
all right. Let's do the CAO report.
Sorry.
That's okay.
You can't, you just gotta pick one thing out of
We've
there,
got to pick one thing out of there.
because I
Okay,
have one
well,
picked out of there.
the reports were incredible, so I'm going to say the fourth quarter financial report. Is that all right?
Yes.
You know her too well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. RDR mug. We've gone through the bylaw, the second revision of the bylaw, and we'll be presenting it in the March meeting. And beyond that, I'll be attending the Acadia Valley Special Interest Area update on their irrigation project on the 3rd in Acadia Valley to get updated for RDR mug, along with some other members of RDR mug. Water Commission, what I can report from that is that the bylaw that or the policy that we were concerned about did not appear on the last agenda. And everything else, I think, can be referred to for the Water Commission, can be referred to in the external report package. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Baswick.
Well,
Councillor
highlights first. Well, I'll tell you what I'm really interested in is the resurrection of the Chamber of Commerce. I think that's going to do good things for our community, and I wish them success in their membership drive, that they get an awful lot of businesses on board. That would be mine. And then the next thing you want is what I did. Well, there was a special council meeting, which was good. And that's about it. MPC has been canceled until, I believe it's March 11th or something. So there's nothing happening between that time. And that's all I have. Oh, by the way, can anybody tell me how the roller skating, we had a special meeting, and I wanted to go to the roller skating thing, because I used to do that. And I was pretty brilliant, actually. Anyway, what was it? Can someone tell me? Like, was it, do you have to pay to go?
Lisa, can we have Lisa speak to that? Amanda?
Could,
We had more than 40 people there skating, plus parents. Really great turnout. We're going to do another one as well.
because, so anybody, but you have to have your own skates, you can't.
You do have to bring your own skates, yes.
Okay, so they're gonna do another one?
They are. At least one more.
Oh, good. No meetings during that, please.
I was going to say check with Councillor Basel, he's busy, whatever
The next
day.
one will be on a Saturday.
Yes, and
Through the chair, Lisa, if I were to build John a set of roller skates, would they be allowed?
They certainly would.
Okay.
And we'll take pictures.
he probably has his own, if he said, good.
Used to, but
Okay, well,
it's really great for the feet, because when you're done skating, that vibration for the time you're on there, it just, once you get the skates off, it's like walking on air. Real good feeling.
huh,
Yeah.
still haven't got me convinced, but thanks.
Yeah.
That's good to hear once in a while. Councillor Moore.
Yes, I had MPC on.
Yeah.
Oh, highlight, sorry. The land use bylaw, they are improving that all the time. We have such knowledgeable people on there, and this home occupation thing, it doesn't bother anybody, it's just awesome. They found a way to make it simpler and better for people to be able to start a business that might become an incubated business and grow within our community. So good on them for improving our land use bylaw all the time. As far as the council reports, I have a big one in there from the law seminar, which I couldn't get in time last time. MPC was February 12th. Lots of special council meetings. February 20th was Mountain View Seniors Housing, and we had of course, a sneak peek and a little bit of addition to the presentation that you're going to get tomorrow at the Mountain View County. And this is a plug for that, for everybody to go. We have a lot of good news. We've crawled out of the hole that we were in. We finally got the deck below over the top that it was when I went there in 2017. And everything that we're doing is to be more efficient and to provide service better. We don't provide the care anymore, but one of the things that is kind of like everybody thinks we do because it's Mountain View Seniors Housing, right? And so even if somebody else is providing the care, everything that happens in there reflects on us. And so we certainly want to cooperate and help and do everything that we can. Everywhere that we're going, we're improving things. We're getting money for the community housing. There may be one that might eventually come up in Didsbury, but we have to get permission for each of the things that we do that are provincially owned. And so sometimes there's a delay in being able to renovate them when they come up. And you might get questions about that, but they have to sit until they have permission from the province to be able to do the things that we do. I guess that's all.
Thank you. I can't believe no one took the land loan and the debt reduction that we have in 2026. We have more debt reduction in 2027. We would have been free and clear, but we have a great project coming on too that we're, going to be having borrowing by law. But I think that's That's something to be proud of, with our budget. Well, because you took the fourth quarter report, and that was mine, but I asked for it at the last meeting, if you don't remember. But, so yeah, I mean, everything is always, it's great, all this information tonight is great, and I would have picked Mountain View Seniors Housing as well, but we haven't dealt with it yet, so I'll talk about that when we deal with it. So I need a motion to accept council highlights and reports as information. Oh, and I don't have anything to report, that's why I was diverting your attention to something else. I'll bring a report in March. Councilor, or Deputy Mayor?
I move the council accept council reports and highlights. I should reverse that. Council highlights and reports as information.
Call the vote, all in favor? And I know we added to your motion, that was in the RFD, Johnson, so
Sorry.
that's okay. So now we have correspondence and information, item 10, Mountain View Seniors Housing, 65 years, and letter from Minister McIver, who has granted another 2-year extension for the JUPA signing. So who would like to make that motion? Councillor Moore?
I move that council accept the correspondence for February 25th, 2025 as information.
Okay, comments? Councillor Windsor?
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. So we had the JUPA draft presented to us at a committee of the whole, but I don't remember ever approving it, or was it ever signed? No?
No, because we were going to sign it at the end of the extension.
Okay.
Right, Amanda?
Correct.
We're taking it to
Well, we're not signing anything before we have to. See all those people that signed it.
So now we won't have signed it at all?
Right, well,
we will.
you never know. Whoever's sitting here.
Next council deals with that now.
Okay. All right. And I mean, we're really a big part of Mountain View Seniors Housing, but I think at some point maybe we send a letter to our team there and thank them for all the work they have done. So we could do that this time since we have their information and thank them for all the efforts they're putting into making it a special celebration and the awareness that the community. I heard Stacy on the radio the other day, and so we could have it as information, and then I could just write the letter, or you could direct me to.
correct.
Okay, so go ahead.
Oh, we have to vote on the motion.
Yes. Call the vote.
I can't.
All in favor? Carried.
I move that council direct Mayor Hunter to write a letter of congratulations and maybe almost celebration to the Mountain View housing, seniors housing.
All right, call the vote. All in favor? That's carried.
You
Yeah.
might want to wait to write it until after tomorrow night, so you have the rest of the story.
Yeah, thanks for that. I didn't go around the table. I thought it was simple, but.
Pretty sure we're gonna have some questions.
From who?
Here.
Oh. Okay, we have question period, and they're no longer on Zoom anyway. So I guess we'll have a motion to go closed at 8:10 p.m.
No questions? Let's go close.
At 8:10 p.m. All in favor? That's carried. We're a 2-minute break as usual.
No.
Thumbs up. Well, that was fast. That didn't happen last night. Okay,
What's the date of our next meeting?
we made a motion to come out of closed at 9:50, and Deputy Mayor made that motion. Right, Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Yeah, well, no, we made that. So we have item 12.1, the personnel item.
Thank you, Mayor Hunter. I'll move that we accept the personnel item as information.
Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Go ahead. The item 12.2, the organizational update.
I move the council accept the organizational update as information.
We'll call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. And then, package?
I move.
Sorry. Yeah, that's the same items.
I move the council direct administration to prepare a recruitment package for the CAO position and bring it back to the next meeting, March 11th, for council consideration.
Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. Councilor Moore, we have item 12.3, municipal inspection proposal.
I move that the Town of Didsbury Council request a municipal inspection of the council governance and operations of the Town of Didsbury and send the approved letter from council.
Call the vote, all in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Item 12.4, Council Code of Conduct Complaint 2024-01. Councilor Basler.
Okay, one at a time. I move the council code of conduct complaints 2024-01 be received as information.
Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried.
I move the council code of conduct complaint 2024-02 be received as information.
Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried.
I move the council code of conduct complaint 2024-03 received as information.
Call the vote, all in favor? That's carried. And a motion to adjourn at 9:54 p.m.
Go ahead.
Well, you can't do it.
I can, but you go ahead.
Okay,
Councilor Basler. All in favor? That's carried. Good night, everybody.